Time now for our Sunday specials. Today is International Widows Day and Nigeria isn't left out of this significant commemoration. Official statistics are not available to quantify just how many women are widows in the country. This year's theme, Progress for Widows, drives home the pathetic plight of many women who fall on hard times when they lose their husbands to death. In this Sunday special, our correspondent Abimbola Agbebiyi profiles one of them.
The plight of many Nigerian widows is indeed a sad tale. Oftentimes, especially for many who live below the breadline, it is one of unimaginable grief. Many who may have been the victims of widowed practices lose their inheritance and that of their children as a result of family pressure and the demands of outdated customs and traditions.
There are some traditions that should be eradicated, that should be gone. You can't say because a man dies, you now bat a dead body and ask the living, a woman, to drink that water. It's not healthy.
My wife and children know what to do. So don't be bothered, because there will be no crisis if and when I die.
It was a rainy Tuesday when I visited the home of a widow. She had lived in buildings not fit for habitation with 2 children. When we arrived to meet our absence, one of her close confidants ushered us into the house.
You can come inside. This
Wow.
is where she's staying.
Wow.
This was what it was, a security post on a piece of land that is yet to be developed by its owner.
Mrs. Margaret Okon is a mother of 2 and also a widow who lost her husband precisely 11 years ago. From the stories we heard, this is the house where she lives with her children years after she lost her husband. Perhaps the only affordable shelter she could get.
Her personal effects, clothes and all, was strewn on an iron dryer. Her cooking utensils, used bowls of food and firewood, evidence that indeed someone lives here. We left but didn't stop trying to find her. Our next visit was to Isheri, Olofin town, where we met 42-year-old Margaret Okon and one of her children.
This is my room.
Welcomed into her home, she tried to light up with a candle. Cramped and dingy with nowhere to sit, Margaret offered us chairs outside.
My husband's sick before he died. So when my husband's sick, we sell things to help him, but at last he still died. It's not that I like this place, it's how condition take me to. Even this place is better than the place that I was before. This bed, somebody wanted to throw it away, and now ask the person to give us. So he gave us, we use and manage.
No help is forthcoming from family or relations. She had toiled so hard to fix the door and the roof of the security post where she sleeps. For Margaret, a widowhood experience is a torturous journey.
I'm not praying for you to be a widow, even your children. It's very bad thing. It's very bad. I can remember one day, my son sick, and it was night. It was late because he used to have belly pain. Belly used to pain him. My sister, that night I feel bad. Where I want to enter, no way. I feel bad. I look at me, it's only me and my children. So there is no how that I wake up, I will not feel. When I see others, I used to feel many things, my sister. If I begin to count one after another, well, I should not say that I condemn God. May God forgive me. I used to think a lot.
Her 13-year-old son, Jeremiah, who dreams of becoming an engineer, emotionally struggles to explain how life without a father has been.
For example, if I want to go to school, I'll have to look left and right. So my classmates will see me and say, "This is your house." So I'll feel if I have a daddy, we will not be in this place. When I always see other children, the way their parents bring them to school, take care of them, I always feel bad because I don't have a dad.
But Margaret is so thankful to a non-government organization presently supporting her son's education. She is seeking help from the state government for financial support. Shortly after my conversation with her, Margaret took me to one of the uncompleted buildings where she once lived in a frantic search for shelter.
Having listened to the touching story of how 42-year-old Margaret Okon is dealing with her challenges as a widow, perhaps a more touching story is how she has had to live in this uncompleted building with her 2 children, having no roof over her head for 2 years.
So auntie, this is where me and my children was living for good 2 years. I will carry this plank and put on top of this thing like this. Then my son will be sleeping there while I will use this one. I put for floor, me and my daughter will sleep. Rain will come, sun will come from one uncompleted building to another uncompleted building. Like that, I even live more than 5 uncompleted buildings, because when you stay there, if the owner come to develop the place, he will ask you to come out. So I go back, look for another uncompleted, stay like that, like that, like that.
In spite of these challenges, she's determined to forge ahead. She toils in the rains and under the sun in a farm where she grows vegetables for sale, hoping that the long-term struggle for basic needs will end someday. Challenges including financial and economic hardship, husbands dying without wills, harmful traditional practices, poor relationships with in-laws, difficulty in social interaction, and depression have played a devastating role in the suffering of widows. Can laws protect and support widows like Margaret?
In Lagos State, we have the, what's it called? We have OPD that fights for people. And in most cases, you don't pay anything. And they're ready to support you, to assist you, as long as you have a good case. Assisting widows is the same way assisting every citizen. You don't have to be a widow for the government to assist you. Well, I know for now, the law we have is protecting the underage and old people, even if there's a law. And that's the most important thing. Let's even assume that the Lagos State Assembly decides to enact a law to say that this is for widows and to protect widows. If that law is signed into law by the governor, but widows don't use it, it's still a useless law.
But non-government organizations and religious bodies believe government can do more.
A woman just lost her husband. She'll be going through some kind of denials, emotional process. Where does she go to have such care that will help her keep her emotional balance? That shouldn't be the work of the private sector. In terms of vulnerability, a widow is more vulnerable than the average woman. And when you are talking about providing economic empowerment, if you knew that you have widows there, you first see how you can take care of them, because they don't have any source for resources.
20,000, 25,000. Many of them don't need big amount of money. That is particularly once those women themselves have faced the reality that, look, I need to advance in life. Something that will make them to have an income of their own, rather than depending on people. Government can do much more. And even the church has a biblical injunction to take care of widows. And many churches do, but we can do more.
Worldwide, there are an estimated 245 million widows. Of that number, 115 million are said to live in abject poverty. Abimbola Agbebiyi, TVC News, Lagos.
Oh, well, the plight of widows compounded by poverty and harmful cultural practices definitely begs for urgent attention there.